Well, welcome everyone to the Built on Safety Driven by Efficiency, the webinar where we explore what it takes to design, build, and operate hygienic, ATEX safe, and efficiency driven plants in some of the world's most demanding industries. I'm your host, David Hull. Tronic Process Engineering, together with Wrap Steel and Wrap Systems, form an integrated group that delivers engineering leadership, stainless steel equipment manufacturing, and advanced industrial automation, all under one umbrella. This synergy is especially valuable for industries where hygiene, safety, and uptime are non-negotiable. Today, we unpack the principles behind this approach. Across food, beverage, chemical, and life science sectors, producers face familiar pressures, combining hygienic design, ATEX safety, and operational efficiency without compromising any of them. Many of these demands collide unless engineering is done right and also done early. Add to this the complexity of integrating multiple suppliers, OEMs, fabrication, automation teams, and the risk of delays, redesigns, or non-compliance increases dramatically. That's why the Wrap Group structure is so important. RPE leads process engineering, project management. Wrap Steel manufactures stainless steel equipment for even the most complex hygienic and high capacity needs, and Wrap Systems provides unified, scalable automation using Siemens and Rockwell platforms. This one group, one accountable partner model is designed to eliminate integration gaps and deliver predictable results across engineering, manufacturing, installation, and commissioning. My special guest today is Bogdan Udia, the Director of Business Development at Tronic Process Engineering, where he focuses on connecting people, technology, ideas to deliver real-world innovation and better industrial processes. Well, welcome, Bogdan.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here. I want to say good afternoon or good morning, depending on whoever is placed where. It's a great opportunity to have this meeting with you, Dave.
Well, thanks again for joining us, Bogdan. A very interesting one. This, I think, the idea of, I guess, all under one roof. I think that's something to get across to our viewers and our attendees today. Your company, of course, has many arms, I guess, many processes, but of course that allows you to integrate all of these together and provide, again, an integrated service to your end users. What I would say to everyone, Bogdan has a presentation for us, which we're going to have a look at in a second. But if you do have any questions that you want to put to Bogdan as we go, please do leave them in the question box. I'll see those here, and I'll put those to Bogdan at the appropriate time. So please do. If you find you have a question maybe about a slide or something that's related to our topic today, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and I'm sure Bogdan can respond to any of your questions. Right, well, Bogdan, you've obviously got your first slide on screen. So if I could ask you, if I can hand over the stage to you, we'll have a look at your presentation.
Thank you very much, and also thank you a lot for the introduction that you made. There's a lot of information that we are actually going to unpack
Absolutely.
more through our presentation, because you have managed to put everything in a very hardcore and a small one. What we are going to go through. So hi everybody, I'm Bogdan. I'm with Tronic for 20 years now. I've been having different kinds of roles in this company, starting with engineering, project management, sales engineering, back to engineering as head of engineering department. Then I came back into sales, and now I'm running business development. Not that so much just for Tronic Process Engineering, but also for our group of companies, which I'm going to tell you a couple of things in this presentation. We serve special industries. I would say every industry has its demands, has its special requirements. What is special for us is food, beverages, chemical, and the life sciences. Why? It's because we bring our know-how in how to develop hygienic solutions, how to make chocolate or how to make snacks. The same thing we use when we deliver equipment that do soft drinks or powdered coffee even. And this know-how actually has a good reference in chemical industry, because there are fields in the chemical industry that would, of course, require equipment to be built in stainless steel, would
Indeed.
require equipment to be easy to clean, and nobody wants to buy wall paint with molds or bacteria in it. So
Got
there is a lot of
it.
know-how that trickles down from the food and beverages industries into the chemical industry. And
Indeed.
of course, what's next, and actually the pinnacle of the hygienic design area is life science, of course, where
Yes, indeed.
for life sciences we develop and deliver equipment that is purifying water up to level of injectables. If you do any analysis to this water, it's just pure H2O. There's nothing else to be found in here. And I was saying that we are part of a larger group,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna tell you just I'm gonna focus on three main companies.
Sure.
Tronic is used to be the main core company of our group that grew since 1992. And while growing and doing more and more projects, we have observed that some of our departments would be actually on a better trajectory if they spin off as a company themselves. So
Sure. Sure.
that's why we have a construction company that does construction for the industry, building buildings. They have another company doing the plumbing for these buildings. We even have a car repair shop that is started initially as our own,
Okay.
uh, let's say, platform for
Mm.
this. Let's focus now on Raptronic Process Engineering, Rap Steel Production, and Rap Systems. These are the companies that are actually the main companies that are um, being that are catering to the industries that I have just remembered earlier, and that are also operating international. Raptronic Process Engineering is the turnkey company, is the main contractor that does raw material handling, either if it's wet or dry. Therefore, we do engineering and project management for our customers, where we integrate OEM or custom equipment, because this is what I want to talk to you about today.
Indeed.
We also do relocations and OEM installations. Sometimes we need to face it, we need to relocate the equipment, complete factories because of different economical reasons.
Yeah.
Or we do also installations for large OEM supplies. When we say OEM through this webinar, because we're going to use it a lot, is original equipment manufacturer. And what
Mhm.
this kind of company is a company which is specialized in delivering some sort of equipment, either if it's cooking equipment or if it's a big oven that is
Yeah.
cooking
Yeah.
cookies. I've been
Yeah.
using
Yeah. Yeah.
that quite a lot, or it's a chocolate molding line. So when we say OEM, that's what we mean. So we do either integrate this sort of OEM equipment, or we install it for our customers at the demand of the customer or at the demand of the OEM. Because what we have seen during the past decade, I would say, um, companies like to specialize quite a lot.
Yeah.
So usually OEMs specialize in manufacturing, R&D development. They don't want to hustle too much with installation, and they just are there for the startup. And for installation, they hire a company that is able to do
Indeed.
all the requirements on site.
You're
Uh,
finding that is that a trend which you found is absolutely expanding over time? Because I see that a great deal. That plant and process, they're looking to make it more efficient, particularly when they upgrade, or if they're going to build a brand new process because of their supply chain has changed. Can we get multiple OEMs, and how do we manage all of that? How do we get that into our plant and it all installs correctly? That's where you come in, because you have that one-stop shop approach,
yeah.
don't you? Yeah.
So it's hand in hand of process engineering and project management
Indeed.
discipline.
Yeah, yeah,
You use process engineering to understand what is the requirement, what's the flow. Then you do the engineering to understand how you can fit everything in, and
absolutely.
then you do the project management to make things happen. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
from very
absolutely.
very early days, when people wanted to catch a big elephant, they had to organize somehow.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
Of course.
so it,
It's changed massively over time. You're right, Bogdan. It's that approach where a business wants efficiency, they want integration, they want someone to basically take that off their plate and say, look, we have to do this. This is what we're trying to achieve. Who can help us do that? And who has the integrated systems across all of that? And that's kind of where the Rap Group can really shine, because you have various aspects of every kind of plant and machine or every kind of installation integrated together. It's not a case of you have to go and buy in services elsewhere. They're already in place.
Absolutely. So we will see later. Anybody can do this, can do the OEM integration integrator if they have enough time, resources, and knowledge. Now, not everybody does have that, so that's why
Sure.
you have companies like ours on the market because
Absolutely.
it's there's if there's no demand, there's no company covering some demand
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
of course.
I would have just two more ideas to add here. We were talking about the integration of the OEMs. Another thing that we have developed during the years is the solutions for cleaning in place, because once you run
Indeed.
milk or egg or whatever kind of product through your pipes, you cannot just open them up and clean them with bottle cleaners. You will need to have a smarter idea to a smarter way to clean that. So
Absolutely.
sometimes we run pigging systems, which are just
Okay.
pipe internal gauge pieces of different materials actually that are flexible, and they run through the pipe to clean everything, push
Hmm.
everything out,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
we run water with high speeds, just above 2 meters per second. Depending on what the requirement is, what the product is, and what kind of water we are also using. Um, And then as I said, we're also delivering water for injections. But the most important thing is that we do everything in an integrated way. We start with the project from the
Hmm.
beginning. We do the engineering. We do the discussions. We do the failure mode analysis with our
Indeed.
customers,
Sure.
and then we start managing the project. We deliver, we install. We start with testing, electrical, mechanical, hydraulic, everything, you name it, and then we do the handover to the customer.
Okay. That's good.
Now, um, a part of our company used in the past to do equipment, to build equipment.
Okay.
And when you're a company that are focused on managing projects, and then you have a part of your company which is focused on manufacturing,
Mm.
at some point you can see a lot of opportunities that you could do well if you are close but separated, like in a
Sure.
family.
Sure. Sure.
So we have the sister company, which is a spin-off of ours, which took all the knowledge, all the hygienic design, all the knowledge on how to do the stainless steel installations, all the best weldings, and so on, but they established a shop which is focusing on efficiency. So they are hired. They're being hired by customers all over the world for fabrication, for high
Yep.
quality stainless steel fabrication. They're only doing stainless steel because if there is anything outside stainless steel range, we will manage that with our sub suppliers. But they
Good.
would do just stainless steel, and they are the ones that are manufacturing highly customizable equipment for industries such as food, pharma, or even chemical industry. And they do either the design themselves or they get the design from OEMs and they do the production for them. There is
Okay.
a lot of OEMs coming to Rap Steel Production, our sister company, and ordering equipment that is being installed later by companies like us or someone else.
Okay.
Same, we would always have a supplier and a customer relationship, but of course, it's a family, so it's a different kind of it's a next level relationship, I would
Yeah.
say.
Of course. Of
The
course. Yeah.
same thing is with RAP systems, which are all our original electrical and programming department, which span off because there is so much more to automate in the world than just our projects and just our industries.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are active, of course, in the same food, beverages, chemical,
Of course.
pharmaceutical industries, but there is also automotive that can be automized and many, many more. Of course, every industry has its different standards, and that's what RAP Systems is doing, is catering to each standard with its own requirements, and that's why you need a lot of flexibility, and you have that from being a company, a self-standing company with different departments inside. A
Indeed.
huge hierarchy always be complicated. That's why it's best to have as flat as possible organization. That's
Yep.
why you are a self-standing company, to be able to be as agile as possible in your relationship with your customers. So they're doing PLC programming, we're doing HMI design and development. Everything has a recipe in production, so they do the recipe development and management. Everything comes from all the PLCs, all the HMIs goes into a SCADA system where you have this room of computers and screens where one can organize and follow and change every parameter in the field from just one port. And then, of course, everything goes into an historian diagram where you collect all the data. Of
Yep.
course, it can be enhanced more and more. Like, for instance, for pharmaceutical industry, there you have the CFR 21 certification, which inquires the fact that you would collect in a blockchain way all the data that is being recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is tamper proof. No one can
Sure. Sure.
change without anybody knowing.
Absolutely.
So these would be the three companies that we are representing. On the other hand, as I said, everybody can run a project by its own. I did this myself 2 years ago. I had to rebuild my house, and I decided to use all my knowledge. But I wouldn't see anyone without project management experience doing
Yep.
this easily.
Yeah.
There are a lot of customers that are focused on producing the best cookie, focused on producing
Mm-hmm.
the best drinks. Now, of course, they have a lot of operations to run in house. They have to make sure that the quality is right, that operations are efficient, that purchasing runs well, and so on. Who of these people would you decide that needs to run a project when you need to double your capacity?
Indeed. Indeed.
Sometimes these kind of customers have inside capabilities. They must usually have a project manager and at least a process engineer or some sort of project engineer that can understand the requirements of their business. And it's still a great situation when they do have someone inside. But on the other hand, when your project is too large, then you will need to hassle too many OEMs. You will need to hassle a design house. You will need to hassle sometimes
Absolutely.
even if you build civil engineering, automation. So there's a lot of things going into it. I can talk just about this for one day, but I'm going to bore everyone out. So basically, when you run the project yourself, it's great because it's everything in one hand.
Mhm.
Also, you have the risk in your own hands, but
Indeed.
you need to have time for that. You need to have resources for that, and of course, the know-how. The know-how usually comes through learning and learning by doing. And learning by doing usually has the great advantage, but that you learn from your own mistakes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you can also have the opportunity to learn from someone else's mistake, but you need to
Absolutely.
be there. So why not use someone who has been through all this process already quite a lot?
Yes, I think
So
tapping into that level of knowledge. I think every business is trying to do that. When I speak to business leaders, particularly in process, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to obviously innovate at speed. They're trying to obviously evolve their process. But how do you do that? How do you do that, as you say, safely at speed with a very clear goal in mind? Yes, you'll have some internal learning. Of course, you will, because obviously it's your process. But I think these days, particularly when we're talking, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, I believe, about building new process and how you can really enhance that by allowing businesses like yours to come in really at the design stage. That's right at the very beginning. That's very important, because if you have an established process, tapping into the kind of knowledge you guys have, because obviously you look at and have experience of many different industries which all basically cross over, and then your knowledge ultimately becomes deeper.
exactly. That's what we say. We have interdisciplinary knowledge.
Indeed.
Interdisciplinary knowledge means that we have been exposed to so many customers,
Somebody.
to
Yeah.
so many
Absolutely.
industry routes, to so many industry branches, that we can gather information, know-how on how to do things, and experience on what to avoid, and bring it to the table.
Absolutely.
Now there's a dichotomy now in today's business world, and we need to be open and talk about it. Everything needs to happen really fast
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the economical landscape is changing dramatically from one quarter to another, especially today.
Yeah.
We've been through a pandemic, we are running through a war, we are running through so much uncertainty right now. On one hand, this means that you are not able to plan very much ahead on what your customer as a business would want later on
Hmm.
in the following months, following
Sure. Sure.
years, and so on. So
Sure. Sure.
everybody needs to be extremely agile. Everyone needs to be on their tiptoes all the time. And this is something that you can easier do if you partner up with someone. And the thing is that even if you need to prepare for something that has never been heard of, and you need to do your R&D, and you need
Hmm.
someone to talk it through and brainstorm with, the best is always to have a partner that can do this part of R&D engineering
Yeah. Yeah.
with process engineering with you. I'm not
Absolutely.
hiding. There's been so many processes that we managed that we never did before.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
we did fermentation of some beans that has never been done
Yeah.
anywhere else unless it on a crate in a field. So we did that. We've been developing some sort of special powder manipulation system that had three types of powders inside in the mix and make sure it's not separating. So
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, but we have the tools on and the process of how to attain the knowledge, how to do the tests, the trials, and then
Indeed.
together with the customer find the proper way to industrialize it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
basically that's what we do. We industrialize ideas. So
Ultimately, yes. That's exactly
that's
what I was
yeah.
thinking. That ultimately, that's kind of what you guys are bringing to the table. It's that vast knowledge of, I guess, past project, which you then say, well, okay, you need to do this. Well, actually, we did this for another company. If we tweak that slightly or make a change to that piece of technology or that process, that might fit for your new process. But you have that knowledge. They don't have that knowledge built into the company. So that's an interesting one when you bring that to the table.
It's not just knowledge. Knowledge is something that at some point can be obsolete.
Mm.
Culture is something that is impossible to emulate by someone else. Culture is something that takes years to build, just like knowledge. But knowledge, as I said, can be obsolete at some point.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Kodak.
sure,
Kodak
sure,
had
sure,
so much knowledge about how to make film, but at some point it was irrelevant. So that's why our focus was never so much on developing patents and developing IP as for developing our abilities and our capabilities to be
sure,
quick.
sure, sure.
Because if you focus on IP protection, at some point someone will still copy it and someone still will be making
Yeah,
money off your IP.
yeah, yeah,
And why focus on that? While you can just make a company that it's impossible to emulate, because that's the hardest thing.
absolutely.
So back to this idea, that's why we have this sort of pyramid, this spearhead that we are supporting our customers with, where we do the design and project management in-house. We have our very dear to us sisters and brothers from our companies, Rap Steel Manufacturing and Rap Systems, and then we manage OEMs because it's no surprise. There's so many OEMs that we need to
Of
manage,
course,
and there's
absolutely.
so many suppliers that we need to integrate because uh, valve manufacturers are focusing on valves, pumps manufacturing are focusing
Of
on
course,
pumps, and so
because
on. So you can't expect to make them in-house. Now, what's the advantage in partnering with a company that is a single point of contact in the end for you and the knowledge bearer? It's you usually need to integrate everything into a project leadership. So, since we are doing just projects, our culture of project management is what stands in the center to our operation and is what we do on a daily basis and helps us quite a lot to manage all these uncertainties and all these risks and all these
sure, sure.
many suppliers.
Yeah.
That's why we have a high capacity of integration compared to a department that runs project management at the customer side. We have consistency in managing suppliers because
Hmm.
Some of them we reuse them all the time,
Of
and
course.
we actually are growing suppliers next to us. We learn them what the requirements for ATEX are. We learn them what the
Yeah, absolutely.
requirements for hygiene
Yeah,
are,
yeah.
and so on.
Hmm.
Sometimes we build up even competition, but it is what it is. Whatever it takes to be a better supporter of your customers.
Yeah, yeah. One of the best.
Um,
Sure.
Safety and quality is the one of the most important things, not just in our industry, but in our culture. So many customers are in food industry, so there's a huge responsibility towards the end customer not to poison them.
Cool.
So many customers are in a chemical industry, which chemicals can be harmful again. So we need to be
Indeed.
very aware and very careful of what we handle and how we put things out. Not to mention the cosmetics or even the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Our responsibility towards the end customer is huge, and that starts with the suppliers. It's not the problem of the end customer, our end customer towards the final buyer, but it's for the whole chain a huge
Yeah,
responsibility that we need
absolutely.
to be aware of and work and play accordingly.
Yes, I think that's
Now,
right. I think ultimately it's in some industries where there's high levels of compliance, of course. It's that kind of phrase that we're all in it together. We'll have to play our part to meet those regulations. I think often it can be quite fragmented, and who has responsibility for what, and is it you, is it me,
yeah,
is it whatever? Where is it in the supply chain? I think with a single point of contact, like you guys, that kind of coalesces everything together, because you can say, well, look, if we're going to do this, this is how we comply, and this particular supplier can help us to do that. And of course, chances are you have a relationship with them already.
absolutely. That's the whole thing, and we even have mechanisms for different situations
Sure, sure,
in house.
sure,
Uh,
sure.
one of the suppliers is late. We would maybe know what to do. We will
Of course.
either use another supplier,
Yeah,
either make it in house. So it's always a second solution for that. That's why we were saying interdisciplinary know-how is what helps us
it's
to be able
vital.
to be
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
our tiptoes all the time and agile
Right.
and bring solutions that are not the standard for one industry, but are useful and work. And of course, everything at some point, even as you would say, if I use an intermediate company or if I use a spear project management and engineering company, that would cost me.
Cool.
And I would argue that it's not true because in the end, you have risk management.
Yeah,
In the end, you have efficiency coming from the fact that someone is managing for you all those suppliers and is aligning them. You have a better time run of your project. You
yeah.
have better quality outcome of your project. Everything that can materialize as a risk will cost you at some point. And my experience is that most of the risks actually materialize.
Okay.
So if
Sure,
you if
sure,
you do
sure,
your risk
sure,
matrix
sure.
at the beginning of your project and you say going over budget, possibility
Whatever it is, yeah, of course.
50%,
Yeah.
quantity 10%, you will surely go over budget, and it's just not just 10%, and so on. So
Mm.
being late with the startup, yes, you will be late with the startup, especially today, and so many
Well,
other things. So that's why you need a partner that's strong. That's so that this is the map of where we have been supplying, and you see there's a lot of intercultural capability
absolutely,
on our side. Now,
absolutely.
of course, pandemics has redrawn maps for everybody. So
Yeah,
has the war. Our focus right now is back on Europe. Europe as it means, because we start in Northern Europe and we go down into the Southern Europe from west to east. Everything is covered by us. And
sure.
we have also deep connections and a lot of reoccurring projects in the Middle East. So this is actually the area where we are focused on right now,
Okay,
although our capabilities are to develop and to deliver worldwide. So what are the key challenges when you run as a how to say, as a person part of a factory that produces chemicals or food industries products. When you want to do a greenfield or a brownfield project, a greenfield is something that is new. I mean, you have a place where you're going to build from scratch, or a
For sure.
brownfield is when you need to intertwine new
For sure.
capabilities
Yeah.
inside the existing ones. So the most important thing is to balance correctly from the beginning this engineering versus efficiency versus gold plating,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
because
Mhm.
hygienic design at some point goes into gold plating. The same thing with operational safety, especially ATEX. If you over engineer it, at some point it will cost you so much that it doesn't make sense to make it anymore. So here you need to balance. Here you need to take decisions that you can back up later on, and that would actually bring you advantages more than disadvantages. So
Sure.
especially food, chemical industries, as I said, and pharmaceutical special products, they affect population. You need to know what to do and how to handle it. Also, your own safety, because things explode. Sugar, flour, cocoa powder, they explode. Not to mention when you use alcohol to clean things up. So you
Sure.
need to be very, very careful about how to manage, how to handle, how to engineer. Then, as we have been talking about the choosing between OEMs and custom, everybody is interested in doing custom stuff.
Sure.
We have this individuality that we need
Hmm.
to be part of, and or to show. So everybody has custom requirements. Now the most important thing is to have someone which is not hot-headed, that can help you choose between something off the shelf or
Hmm.
something that needs to be customized. And here there's many reasons to customize.
Sure.
It can
Sure. Sure.
be time for delivery. Maybe you need an alternate supplier that has never built that, but he can build it earlier, faster for you, because the OEM doesn't build something very complicated. It just takes a lot of time because he has a lot of orders.
Of course.
It maybe they will not change the dimensions that they have in their catalog page, so you need someone to customize to your entrance, to your footprint. Maybe the quality that you can get equipment in is not high enough, especially in the
Hmm.
hygienic part,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you need someone to either convince this company to do it in a higher hygienic requirement, or you need someone to build it from scratch. So
Sure.
we
Sure.
have been doing both situations here.
Yep.
We had a supplier for a customer in food industry, and they wanted an one up for the quality, and they just didn't know how to do it. They were used to do for the food industry, for the products that have a kill step. For instance,
Hmm.
if you have an oven has a kill step. So if you have any sort of uh, bacteria risk, it will go through an oven, and that was it. But if you have a process like with chocolate, or like with foam making egg out
Hmm.
of egg and so on, and you don't have this heat or very, very deep cooling for freezing, then you don't have a kill step. That means a completely different philosophy on the whole line of how you handle your raw
Sure. Sure.
materials.
Sure.
So we had this situation where the OEM always made products for kill step process, and we stepped in to up their design to be
Right.
able to support for no kill step solutions.
Well, again, that's
And
the deep knowledge which your company is bringing to the table. You look at something that is off the shelf, but if a customer needs something that is absolutely bespoke, well, yes, we could build that from scratch. But let's look at this technology. Maybe this technology could be adapted to your needs, which is less costly, it's faster, it's an easier
absolutely,
way to innovate. That's a very interesting, I guess, piece of knowledge to bring to the table. That's we've seen this technology before. We have partners who can provide you with this. We can tweak that slightly, and it delivers what you need very, very quickly. Because you know as well as I do, everyone is trying to do this at speed, and often
yeah,
building it from scratch. Absolutely, if it has to happen that way, of course. But often it isn't. Maybe a slight change of an existing piece of technology can get you there much, much quicker. But you have the knowledge to bring to the table, which is very interesting when you're partnering with, as you say, very specific industries like food and beverage, and
yeah,
absolutely with industries like pharmaceutical.
yeah. Yeah, and we've been many times working like a tuner shop, and
Yeah,
whoever is in house
yeah,
will know that
sure,
you can
yeah,
get a car that is easy to buy off a lot
yeah, yeah,
somewhere, and then you make changes to it. You upgrade
absolutely,
it as to your requirements, and we have been
absolutely,
doing that. We get ordinary equipment, we combine it, and we bring it to a next level, to the next level through ITEX requirements or hygienic requirements. Now, hygienic requirements is easier to build up to because you just make things more according to the standards. For
okay, yeah,
ITEX,
yeah, yeah,
it's a little bit harder because there you sometimes need to test a couple of equipment, so you need to blow them up. So
sure, sure, sure,
that's a different approach.
yeah, yeah,
Now, another thing that we were saying is, of course, scarcity of integrated engineering and know-how in a company.
yeah,
And believe me, when I started this 22 decades ago, 80% of our customers had a lot of know-how in-house, a lot of engineers, a lot of project management, people able to run projects and so on.
yeah,
Today, just 20% have this
wow,
ability left.
yeah, yeah,
So it's been a huge shock for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Actually, it's not a shock because this has been happening step by step. But looking back and realizing this is the shock,
yeah,
where you know that the customer you started to work with at some point now has just someone who is running operations there,
yeah,
and they ask you
that's good,
to support them to develop further. And initially, you learned quite a lot from their engineers in the beginning.
cool, yeah,
Yeah. So the key risks we don't need to push to through them, but it's safety incidents either through running the project or
hmm,
safety incidents through
yeah, yeah,
running the product, the end equipment, cost overruns and delays and operational inefficiencies will always bring to some sort of mix here. So that's why do engineering as early as possible in your projects. Hire someone who has capability and foresight. Um, and can support in trying to take away out engineer the risks, out
yeah,
engineer
absolutely,
possible derail on running the project, and try to have someone who knows efficiency when you talk about manufacturing.
absolutely,
So what I was saying about our culture. So our culture has ingrained in it this responsibility where we know that the end products can harm someone's kid, someone's mother, or even ourselves. One thing that we always do is ask ourselves, when you do this installation, would you bring those end products home to you to have it in the night
sure,
as a
sure,
snack
sure,
or give
sure,
it to
sure,
your kid on?
yeah, 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 yeah,
The most important thing, would you take this medicine that has been made with the water that you have equipment that you have provided and so on. Now another thing which is extremely important because we are in the business of keeping a company alive and growing it, so
hmm,
precision, because business comes from how efficient you run your project management. So running efficiently project management is not just to keep customers happy and make them save money. It's also for us to be able to
indeed,
stay in the market. So it's a
because,
highly important part of our all day to day. Then versatility and smartness, they somehow come together
yeah,
in the same hand.
sure,
They're
yeah, sure,
same sets uh, of being agile.
yeah, I
So
think so,
you need to be able to switch easily, and you need to be smart to make the smart decisions when you switch. Now, of course, versatility is something that you're being born with, I would say, the ability to think outside the box. Now, smartness is coming from how to say from your experience because you have been
yeah,
in this situation before,
sure,
or you
sure,
know what questions to ask when you need to do a big change. So here are the key concepts that we have been talking earlier a little bit about safety and hygiene design from day one. That's the most important thing when we say
yeah,
responsibility, and that's the thing that we need to have in every project with us. We're trying to let customers know that we want to be next to them from the inception of the idea,
yeah,
and we have so many customers that we are happy to be next to when they say we have a new product that we need to put on the market. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's see how we can involve you to try to develop the new layout, try to develop the new capex, try to develop our idea in general speaking.
Indeed.
And then we are there to help them with the newer safety and hygienic standards, because we are part of European Hygienic Design Group. That means that
Mhm.
we are constantly being fed with the new updates and the new standards on how to make things hygienic.
Yeah.
And this is actually, I would like to talk 1 minute about European Design and Hygienic Engineering and Design Group. That's a marvelous organization. It's companies like us, manufacturers and providers of equipment.
Okay.
It's companies like our customers who are making biscuits, chocolate, and whatever, and they come and sit at the table together with authorities. Because when you want to make a new product, the authorities will come and say the product needs to be safe.
Sure.
How? They don't really tell you.
Yeah.
You need to make it in a place that it's easy to clean. What does easy to clean actually mean? It's hard to say. Cleanable is still another thing that
Yeah.
it's hard to say. When it
Absolutely.
when is it clean enough? So these
Mm.
are the sort of things that authorities ask you, but they don't tell you how to manage them, and for good reason. I mean, they have a different kind of scope. Let's say the
That's right. Yeah.
authorities.
It's not their responsibility. Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
are enforced. They
Yeah.
they need to make sure
Indeed.
things are enforced.
Indeed.
On the other hand, who is able to tell you what's the sweet spot? What's the sweet spot between over engineering, gold plating, and leave it? It will go like this as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh, you need someone to help you out with this, and this is what the amazing organism, European Hygienic Engineering Design Group, does. They put people together and allow them to exchange ideas and allow them to develop the best way forward. And that's the magic about it. Now,
Absolutely.
ATEX, it's a bit similar, but not that much, because there you have actually professionals that are paid to try out, and usually they are part of a governing body, and they bring up with they come up with the requirements, and the very clear how to do it, than compared to hygienic design.
For sure.
Um, and the great thing about being in Europe is that more or less the expectation is the same everywhere, and that's a,
Yeah.
a really good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And even
Indeed.
USA, I would say, is very much aligned, or we are very much aligned with the same standards as they are. Of course, you can make explosion protection also with high IPs.
Mm-hmm.
IP meaning here the IP 67 or 55
Good.
protection, but that is allowing the gases or the dust not to come into your equipment, but doesn't say what happens if it does.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what ATEX does, because ATEX in the first place keeps away the powder or the gases that can blow. Secondly, if you cannot, because you're inside the silo, you keep away the possibility of having a spark, an igniter,
And
hot
we did.
surface that start the deflagration and so
Of
on.
course.
And still, this cannot still be avoided. What to do in case you have a deflagration? How to cool that front down? How to make sure you're not igniting all the rest, and so on. So RX is prevention, keeping away the source, and then what to do in case the risk still happens.
Sure. Sure.
So the concepts here are that we integrate all this knowledge together with the customer, with the face towards his efficiency in the end, and how he will run the equipment in the end.
Yeah.
Um, and the point is not to redesign late, because redesigning late can mean either you have a discussion once the equipment is already there to do a startup, and someone from the authorities comes and tells you that something is wrong, and then you need to
Of
stop the
course.
whole
Sure.
system,
Sure. Sure.
rebuild everything. Um, then, of course, you want to minimize the exposure of your customers. to any kind of contamination risks and minimize the exposure of your own people to minimize their risk. And everything, this procedure brings you to faster approval and faster startups of plants.
Yeah, yeah,
There's even a concept of vertical startup, which means that once you have all the equipment placed, you can start and do production as quick as possible.
sure.
That it looks like vertical
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, wall. But this is actually what we are tending towards. Now, discipline in precision means disciplined execution through project management. So you need to have structure, you need to have predictability, you need to be transparent in the way you do project management. And that means, first of all, to be aware where you are with your project all the time. You need to have very clear goals, clear steps, everything that the project management school will teach you. But still, you need to be very much aligned with that. You need to involve your customer. You need to have focus on your results and not paperwork. That's a very important thing that we have seen in our industry. There's so many companies focusing on paperwork and getting things done on paper that it's actually maddening how much of the real requirements are left aside because the papers are fine.
I'm with you. Yes,
Yeah,
the focus is in the wrong place. That's what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Because
yeah.
it's how to say covering someone's fault more than getting things done
Sure,
in a
sure,
proper and smart way.
sure,
So
sure.
I need to tell you, this is something that we bring on the table here. We are focused on getting things done in the proper and correct way. Papers, good papers, are the result of what we do.
Yeah, indeed.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do things traceable, but not for the sake of papers, for the sake of having that customer happy.
No, that's right. Often documentation becomes the absolute core focus. And then you ask a business, well, okay, that's fine, but have you built anything? You know, does it work?
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
tried to actually make this in practice? And often the answer is no, which is a crazy situation to be in. But that seems to be the culture in many businesses. I think what you're saying, if you partner with the Rap Group, that will actually reverse. We will look at the
Yeah.
practical aspects, and the practical aspects will then result in some very good documentation, not the other way
Have
around.
yeah, have innovative people running your projects. Have well organized people running your projects,
Indeed.
not secretaries.
Indeed. Well, absolutely. Yeah, have to have the right people, of course. You can't
And
automate this process. Yeah, it's literally down to the people that you have within your business, or you can partner with.
because paperwork will not prevent scope creep or deviation. No,
Yeah,
it will show it when it's on, but
yeah, yeah,
that will not keep it away. So you need to
absolutely.
be smarter than just
Yeah,
that. So you need to have a lot of visibility into engineering, fabrication, and automation, what's going on, and involve the customer. If the customer is involvable, that means
indeed.
he can understand what is going
Yeah,
on,
indeed. Of
or
course.
he just delegates you with all the requirements and all the things that you need to do for him. So that, as I was saying, it's not a procedure; it's part of our culture.
Indeed.
It's the very fine thing is that you can buy a franchise of how to do project management,
Mhm.
and you'll have so many dossiers with all the templates and everything. And yeah, that's nice, but that doesn't get things done.
No,
The best thing is when you learn on how to do project management, and then you want to make it better, more efficient, and then you
indeed.
add the layers of the templates and add the layers of all the meetings and so on. But that needs to enhance the way of working. It must to be the cone, the wafer of the ice cream. It doesn't need to be the ice cream itself.
For sure.
Versatility here, it's OEM integration in automation and a vendor approach. We are open vendor approach here, especially when we do a lot of customers have a lot of pre-existing supplies that they need to keep. So this is something we do, for instance, pumps from the same manufacturer, bearings from the same manufacturer, and so on.
Sure.
It does make a lot of
Sure. Sure.
sense.
Sure.
Now, we have seen trends changing in this trend here because changes in this trend here because a lot of customer want to be more efficient, so they are open also to better price points on supplies.
Okay.
So we are trying to adapt, integrate more and more equipment. On the automation side, we can cater to both requirements, American and European
Mhm,
requirements, if
mhm.
it's Allen Bradley or Siemens. So this not being fixed on one mindset allows
Mhm.
us to cater to more and more customers and to
Because
through different industries, chemical, food, beverages, and so on.
sure.
Um, and now again, that the same discussion about customization and standard. I wouldn't go too deep into it because we already talked about it. But that's the most important is to avoid over engineer. That's over engineering
Okay.
is something that I see that engineers have the tendency to do, and under engineering is a thing that I see that project managers tend to do. So it's really important to keep this in a balance. The most important thing is when you keep something in balance is not to have the length of the balance arms too much, because that brings a lot of tension on the
Because
arm itself.
because
Keep them close. Keep them close through communication and open leadership, and a lot of leadership, because that brings also not just balance but also integration.
indeed.
So cost timing, everything is always extremely important. I have here some simple examples of projects that we've been done. Both are important for the safety point of view. Food safety in Austria, we have integrated a very large supplier and built around it. Around this supplier, everything that was required, because they came in with the cooking equipment and they came in with the cooling tunnels, and we built everything around it to make sure that they are properly fed with all the raw
Sure.
materials on
Sure.
one
Sure.
hand, and the other thing is that after once you make the foam for this is actually for some product, a white foam covered by chocolate.
Okay.
Once you make the foam and you mix it with the syrup, there's no more killing step there. So syrup comes in hot, but the egg white is still being touched by some warm syrup.
Sure.
So
Sure.
later on, everything can go sideways. So here, everything needed to be as shiny and as cleanable as it
Yeah.
might get. So
Absolutely.
this is something that we have been really happy to integrate, and we integrated a very large supplier, and we added around it just to make sure that the customer gets what they need and in the easiest way. Because core equipment had a very, very long delivery term. If we would have got everything from the same supplier, it would have been much over budget and impossible to reach the deadline. So we built everything around
Yep.
it. We took responsibility for project management and engineering here. So that's what we did. And on the right side, there is a powder system for powder beverages, soluble powders.
Okay.
And again, the same thing, how to integrate equipment like the mixers, like the pneumatic, like the dust sucking equipment that allows
Yep.
you also to use most of the products, because you have a lot of dust in the air. You need to take that away out
Mhm.
of two reasons. One, it is explosive, and as I said, cocoa powder is the worst. It's like diesel. Once it's going, it
Yeah.
will
Yeah. Yeah.
last. And the
Absolutely.
second thing is you don't want to throw too much product away. So it's better to do the dusting everywhere that you can, so you can reuse that product in your main product. So
Cool.
uh, we have developed this rig that you can see on the right there, and it's not just that, but everything was custom made in a very, very small place, because they were having their original equipment working, and they gave us next to it a small space where to develop the new technology.
Okay.
The
Right.
old one was still working, so we had to use smaller space than actually was required to be able to run all technology parallel with the newer one, and
Sure.
then decommission the old one. So
Yeah.
this
Cool.
was a beautiful project that we had. So the principles, again, at RAP Group, it's responsibility, versatility, smartness, and precision. And I think we made it in time with all, including my lack of internet connection.
I think that's fine. Yes. Well, thanks for that, Bogdan. I think that's a very very interesting look at. I think what the company can offer. Absolutely, but I think it's interesting that you also talked about the culture also within your business. You know, that culture that we're going to look at every single project and how can we enhance this for our clients? How can we use our vast knowledge, but also the integration across our companies to deliver that project on time, on budget, etc., and all of that. Very interesting. You're talking also about how do you then integrate supply chains, OEM. That's very interesting as well, because I think these days when you're trying to build plants, particularly from scratch, a new plant, but also modifying existing, that's very interesting. Off the shelf, yes, absolutely. Does that need a modification? We can do that as well. But I think the bottom line, I think, for everyone, I think has joined us today, is really what the RAP group can offer is that level of understanding what you're trying to achieve, what is it you're trying to, what's your end game. Yeah, that could be a modification, but more interestingly, if you're building new plant, contact us very early in the design phase, because that can be crucial. As you said earlier, you don't want to be changing designs halfway through. Bring us in at the very, very beginning, and then we can use our vast knowledge to help you really, I guess, create that new plant, that new process for obviously for reduce your costs, and also at speed. I think also you were also talking about, yes, we can absolutely help businesses to innovate at speed.
And very important, because we are talking about culture. Our culture is
Mm,
not just about how to support our customer best.
indeed.
Of course, that's the end game, but there's one more layer to this. If we're talking about keeping know-how, keeping capability in-house, that means we need to take a good look at our people as well.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
it's the two let's say two things we need to deeply integrate here: consistency with customers, consistency with people. Because you can integrate whatever AI chatbot you want with all the documents that your company has, and you will still never be able to do the job of a person that has been with you for a long time. And
Absolutely.
happily, we have a lot of employees which are with us for more than 20 years, and a lot of customers which are with us for more than 20 years.
Indeed.
So this is actually the cultural side that we need to protect, and that we are actually bringing to our customers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, unfortunately, that we've out of time, everyone, and thanks for sort of staying with us with our technical issues a bit earlier. But again, thanks for joining us today. I think that was a
Thank you
fascinating
so much.
insight into what the RAP group can really bring to the table if you're looking to build new plant and machinery, if you're enhancing existing plant as well. Really take the next step to transform your operations today. Excuse me. You can connect obviously with Bogdan himself, but also you can also connect with the business with an email address, which I'd like to read to you, which is rpe.sales@rap-group.ro. This will all be on obviously the landing page for this webinar if you'd like to watch this back. Well, until next time, it's a goodbye from me, and it's a goodbye from Bogdan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.